Welcome to the showcase. If you don't already know, my name is Sean. Produced over 200 videos now. There's no other channel like this one that talks about the life of entertainers, and I thank you for watching. I interview entertainers because I believe people like to know about how they achieved their success, and there's years of it, from Clubland in the early days, from the 60s right up to present. I make these videos for your enjoyment. All I ask you to do is help me by watching them, sharing them, and liking. Helps the channel grow, helps me produce great content. That's all I ask. Thumbs up, thank you. Our guest today, we have a guy that I've had the pleasure in talking to a couple of times. His name is Allan Guest. Hello, Allan.
How you doing, mate?
Smashing. And I just want to tell the viewers a bit about you. Allan is 1,000,000% dedicated with live entertainment and bands. He's been involved with some bands from around his area, around Sheffield, West Yorkshire area, but he's also friends with some of the great bands that we can talk about in the past. Now, this video I'll stop and put videos on of the acts that we're talking about, but we're talking about bands like the Gents, the Internationals, the Marx Brothers, Tubeless Hearts, and the Gutter Band. So we're going to talk about them today, and then we might have an episode 2 with Allan on another time. So Allan, what made you get into the entertainment scene and get devoted and dedicated like you are?
I always loved music, and then one Saturday night, my brother with his friends were going down to a local working men's club, the Bolton-on-Durham Working Men's Club, and there were a band on called Drifting Harmony. And apparently, when this band were on, you had to queue around the corner to get in. And I went down with him, and I just stood there, and I was just gobsmacked. Well, something like I'd never seen before, and they were an exceptional band. And it just got me hooked on Clubland.
Can you remember what year that was, Allan?
Oh, Jesus, that'd be 70, 71.
Yeah, I was going to say 70s, because that was the birth of some of the amazing bands and the big agents called Allan Wood and all the rest of them. So I can relate to that. And yeah, you're right, because I used to be with a band called China Garden.
Yeah, I can remember China Garden.
And Bill
Wright, Turner, Bill Wright.
Bill Wright, yeah. Bill Wright was their manager, and I went on. He is a lovely man. I still talk to him. We did the venue in London with the Rolls Royce. Yeah. Great band, and like all the band know, like the Gents, the Gutter Bands, Tubeless Hearts and things like that. Same era, same contingent and things like that. Let's first talk about the Gutter Band. When did you first see the Gutter Band, Allan?
Right, I was asked, because at that time I had my own agency called A&R Entertainment. And out of nowhere, I received a phone call of Martin, the drummer, asking me if I'd look after the band and get them some work. Now, at that time, the Gutter Band consisted of Martin on the drums, John on bass, and an effeminate punk rocker type of singer, can't remember his name. And that was it. And I put them in a few clubs that I were doing sole representation for, and they absolutely stormed every venue. But trying to book them out to the likes of Allan Wood were hard, because all I used to get was, how can I sell a band that's only got drums, bass and a singer? Which I can understand. Anyway, it was hard, but it sort of went its own course. And then all of a sudden, Neil Tomlinson, he'd got involved with them, and he sprinkled his magic dust on them, and he turned them into the phenomenon that they ended up. And I was lucky to work for them again when they were at their prime, and what a band they were.
So rewinding a little bit, you used to be an agent as well. So you've been an agent, You've been a roadie, you're well informed and quite well up with the bands of that era. I'd like to put the video of the Gutter Band on now.
She starts to the mouse.
Okay, we've watched the Gutter Band. Tell us about Neil and what brought about the changes, because I've seen the Gutter Band and I was blown away.
Yeah. So Neil took them on with Allan Wood, and he sprinkled his magic on them. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call off Neil, and he said that he was going to, if he can, reinvent it again, make it bigger. And he was going to put a road crew together, and he wanted me to be the manager, the road crew manager. But at the time, they were on the way back from a venue in Blackpool, the Star Bar, and they had a serious accident on the M62 where some of the members got badly injured. So it sort of put everything on hold. And I got a phone call again off Neil saying, look, it's still going to happen, just bear with us. Anyway, after so many months, it started to happen, and they started to rehearse at a venue called Bambi's, I think it was. And I went along, and they went through the rehearsals, and what it consisted of is 2 drummers in cages on the floor in front of the stage. And then they've got all these big hydraulics, a platform that come down, and a spinning wheel, and the show was just amazing. On the way back, Neil says, well, what do you think? And I said, well, the only problem for me is the only people on stage were Neil and a guitarist, Paul, plus Gandhi, who were doing the lights. He was also on stage, and I says, so when you go off stage to do a costume change, the stage looks very empty and unbalanced, because basically all it was Paul to the right-hand side. Next thing, I'm being measured up for the black cat suit, and I'm miming on bass guitar, and my character was Alvin Ballrust. And that's how it remained for over a year. And I have to say, it was one of the most enjoyable times of my life.
Some of that hydraulics and some of the stuff I mean, you must have had a 40-foot trip. You know, I've seen you a couple of times, and I just thought, how did they set this up? It must take you all day.
No, actually, it was down to a fine art. We could get the gear all set up within the hour.
Wow.
The longest task was filling the big ballast tank on the spinning wheel with water. So when it spun, it didn't tipple over. You had to have this ballast tank. And that was and then emptying it at the end of the night. That was and we used to have a hose pipe fixed to a pump, fixed to a drill. So the drill were working the pump, pumping the water out.
How much water was in there, Allan?
I dread to think, mate. Dread to think. I never actually measured. Put it this way, I couldn't have drunk it. And but we used to have a minibus where most of the band travelled in, and then me and Martin, who were from Royston and Barnsley, we used to travel in the big Pantechnicon with all the gear in, and it was a big Ford cargo van. We learned as we started trial and error with the vans, because we got one van. It's not big enough. Got enough. So we ended up with this Ford Cargo on the tachograph, and amazing times. That's all I can say to.
Where the door come down and Neil came out as Gary Glitter. Unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then the platform he was stood on, once the door come down, the platform he was stood on, raised him up into the, and I'll never forget one gig we did at the Frontier. And they just had it refurbished, and they just spent thousands and thousands on backdrop curtains. And the show started, and the platform come down, and then the lift went up, and we just heard this terrible. And the lift had caught the backdrop curtains, and it ripped it from top to bottom, which Derek wasn't very pleased about. The guy wanted it.
That's the great stories. Well, Neil went on to be a very successful man, because he also had a band called the Internationals. Let's watch the video here.
I suddenly wondered who the hell it was who was trying to fool. 'Cause you were the first one that I ever wanted, and it's you I come home to at the end of every day. Like a mother-sucking baby, demanding you so helpless. A little moaning man, a wrinkles of mounting eyes. A war baby, you were a war baby.
Now, after watching the internationals, I know the band very well because many years ago I was in a duo called Leather and Lace. We went on tour with the internationals on the army bases, and it was a comedian called Eddie Collington, 3 Facts.
Yeah.
The internationals, fantastic band. Neil doing his Woolly Bully, really, really entertaining. The soldiers loved him. Very talented man, Neil, and now he's a very successful agency.
Yeah. His agent was the Axe Store. It's one of the biggest going. And Neil himself now is the head man of the Entertainment Agency Association.
Really?
Yeah, he's the head man. So he's done well for himself. But he deserves it.
Yeah.
Because if anybody has contributed to Clubland, it's Neil.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but he, God bless his cotton socks. I spoke to him a couple of times, and he said, "I don't want to talk about my seedy past." Why would he say that when that's helped him to get him where he is?
Because he's a very quiet, unassuming kind of guy. He's totally different off stage to what you see on stage.
Yeah,
because
he is. Yeah,
he's not renowned for having the best voice in the world, but he's renowned for being one of the best entertainer frontmen in Clubland.
Yeah.
And to go on and be that good when your voice is not, compared to others, you've got to have confidence. But off stage is a totally different persona. He's a lovely, lovely man. I can't praise him enough.
No, when we was on tour with him, he was always the quiet one. Very formal and relaxed and, serious kind of thing. Whereas some of the others would like a drink and a smoke and, that kind of thing. And
I'm still in touch.
That one, Neil.
Yeah, I'm still in touch with them now. Jem and Mike, the drum. And
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In fact, I went to Michael's dad, Mike Dennett and Chick. Remember Mike Dennett and Chick, the ventriloquist act? That Mike's dad. I went to his funeral in Blackpool about 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh.
And Jem were there, and Russ, Mike's brother, who joined the band later on, but then joined the Human League. And we had some good laughs reminiscing.
Oh,
and they still can get up to a thing or two.
Alan, will you get in touch with Jem or pass me his details? And I'll see if I can get him on here because, I'm sure he's got a story to tell.
Yeah, Jem went to live in Benidorm, and he went to live in Benidorm for years. But then a couple of years ago, as we were coming out of Brexit, he came back and he did 1 or 2 things with bands, Susie and the Suits, under Neil's guys. And then now he goes back to Benidorm when the allocation allows him, because you've got to do 90 days. And then after that, you can't go for 90 days. So he goes back there.
Who was the guy that went to join Human League then?
That were Russ Dennett. That were Mike, the drummer's younger brother.
And is he still with Human League?
No. But he has got stories to tell. I mean, he lives in this, house in Drumfield. And on the disc on the wall is a platinum disc for Human League. And the story he tells of when he got them, they were just somewhere and Phil Oak, he just walked round and says, "Oh, we've been sent these," and he just handed them round, these platinum discs for whichever record it was. But he's still
awesome.
He still performs with Mike in just little pub-like bands.
That's good. Let's talk about Marx Brothers.
Now, what a band. They were from Birmingham, and it were 4 brothers and 2 uncles. They were their uncles. They were just so tight, so fantastic, so good looking. Everything, they've got everything. And you just thought, these are going to be massive. And then they released a single, JoJo's Bar. But it didn't get the right promotion. And they were one of so many that have just faded away that should have been massive. But the Marx Brothers are still going with the sons of some of the original Marx Brothers and some of the originals. They were you ever talk to Neil Tomlinson, ask him about the Marx Brothers, and he'll tell you you've never seen a band as tight. They were excellent, absolutely excellent.
Let's watch the video now. Now that is what you call a fantastic band, and you know, you say that you know they had a record deal, it flopped. Who was the record company that they had the deal with? Can you remember?
No, I can't offhand. I've got the singles somewhere in that lot. I've got the singles somewhere.
Well, you've got a good collection there, Alan.
Yeah, this is my
my God.
So this is where I come away to get away from it all. So
it's your man cave.
Yeah. Well, my man cave's outside. This is my music room. So, but
excellent.
The Sim, I said that the Marx brothers are still going, and the two sax players.
Yeah,
they're still playing in the original band. Chris, the bass player, he had health problems and he retired down Kent. But Buzz, the guy on the keyboard with the black hair, he's still going, and he's a top tribute act. He started out doing James Brown and Little Richard, going all over the world, and now he does a Prince tribute. And when he's dressed up and singing, and he's got his brothers backing him, it's one hell of a show. One hell of a show.
Do you know what, Alan? I was 2 days ago, I thought, right, I'm going to put an advert out on my site asking for a Prince tribute. Yeah. Because loads of people love Prince. Maybe we can get him on here.
Yeah, well, if you go on Facebook, he goes under the name Buzz D'Angelo, and his name is Buzz Majumba.
Okay. I'll have a look then. Yeah, we'll
have a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube, you'll see him. When he puts the full show on, obviously depends on the size of the venue and the fee and this and other. If it's the full Monty, it's the dogs what's it, I'm telling you.
I bet it is. Yeah, I bet it is. Alan, let's move on to one of my favourites, Tubeless Hearts.
Yeah, very, very good friends of mine. Worked for the Tubeless Hearts for a long time. Knew them before I went to work with them, especially Trev Midgley, the keyboard player. They were another one. The thing that stopped them going big was getting the right original song, to take them that step over. We've played co-starred with some top acts that have made it and blown them off stage. Yeah. Musicians-wise and vocal-wise, you couldn't get better, and they were just a great set of lads. I really do. But so I keep in touch with them. And Kev...
Who managed Tubeless Hearts?
Bill Wright, to start with, because Kev used to work in the office, and then they started managing themselves, getting the bookings. And we worked 7 nights a week, every week. Up and down. In Europe.
Yeah. Let's watch their video now.
Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, Tubeless Hearts. I mean, these videos was done 20, 30 years ago, so the quality's not what we expect. But, you know, you can still see the true musicianship, the talent that goes into the bands. I mean, you're talking about, you know, some of the best bands in the business. You've got Gutter Band, Tubeless Hearts, Marx Brothers, International, Gents. You know, you've got China Garden, and there was some amazing acts, you know, that Bill Wright produced as well, who was an amazing guy. You know, did you ever meet Bill Wright, Bill?
Bill, yeah, and I talk to him regular, and he's a lovely guy. He's on his jolly holes at the moment in Jamaica, I think it is.
Yeah, he likes Jamaica. He's got a Jamaican band, hasn't he? So
he's
good.
His knowledge and all of the music business, because not only did he do the agent bit, he was also a concert promoter.
Yes.
And I just said to him, Live Aid were in the making, the concert, and I just said, any chance you get me a couple of tickets, Bill? 3 days later, 2 tickets dropped through my door. No, that's the kind of guy Bill was. And he used to put the tubes on with some of the concerts that he were promoting. Bucks Fizz, Musical Youth, Show Waddy Waddy, and the Tubes did the support act for him. He'd got a vast knowledge of the business.
Let's talk about another one, the Gents.
Gents.
Now, Martin's still going, and I asked Martin to come on here. I said, it's not me. It's not what he can do. And now knowing Martin, probably understand that. But the Gents go back many, many years, and absolutely brilliant, talented musicians. And China Garden and the Gents worked on the road together. There was a set of thieving buggers.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, man, just they got me into with clubs that I put them in. And then when they're gone, there were only half the club left. They'd nicked the rest.
You're right there. I mean, I've had many conversations with Chris Norfolk, who was the singer with China Garden.
Yeah, I know.
The stories he tells is unbelievable. I've done a podcasting with him, an hour on here.
Yeah, I watched it. And Bryn's.
Have you? And Bryn, yeah. Bryn, great guy, you know. He's with a good party band at the moment.
Yeah, right.
Let's talk about the Gents. Martin's still going as a solo, or as the Gents still?
Yeah.
Which one, Alan?
Martin's still...
Is he still going as a solo, or is he doing the Gents
No,
still?
he got Martin Burton. After he left the Gents, he formed a trio with his wife called Lip Service and did that for a while. And then the rest of the Gents went on to be Men's Club, which Bryn joined. And then now Martin just goes round as Martin Burton now. But they did a reunion at the Birdwell venue over Hoyland Way about, 2 years ago? And it was packed to the rafters. You couldn't get a ticket for it. Packed to the rafters. There's loads of videos on YouTube about it. If you go on YouTube, you'll see the videos from the actual reunion concert, and they still do the business. I have to admit, it was never my scene. That mod music, it was never my ear. You know? And at that time, because there used to be them and the Tubeless Hearts on Bill's label, Bankhouse, you know, and so there were that Tubeless Hearts Gents. But you couldn't fault them for what they were. They were fantastic.
Let's watch the Gents video now. Martin still going, still very good musician and singer. Like you say, you had to love like the mod kind
the
of
ska
stuff,
music,
ska music, yeah. But it's still so popular nowadays.
yeah.
I have a mate who's in a band called Badness. I'm sure you know
Badness, yeah. I know that, yeah.
I did their video as well. Absolutely great guys, knocking on a bit, but still whapping out a fantastic show. It's still a very popular thing. Is the ska stuff, and I wouldn't have thought that Clubland would have accepted it, but most people in Clubland love ska, don't they?
I mean, if you look at Complete Madness, they're still going.
Yeah,
they're still,
oh yeah,
still, yeah.
What was your connection with the Gents?
Just because we were on the same label and I knew them as friends. Everybody
Right
that you've mentioned so far, we all ended up friends. And even now, 30 years later, you're still in touch with each other, So, like, I still talk to Buzz I went to see him at an outdoor concert. It was a tribute festival, and he got two of his brothers playing with him. The one that retired, Chris Thruell, lives in Cornwall. I'm still in touch with him. Still talk to Martin on Facebook, and Steve still. And then Glyn, the drummer that used to be in the Gents, he's in a duo, but he does a lot of solo shows. And he even used to come through when he were in the Gents. He liked The Idiot, the comic, and he's got a great voice. And as a solo act, he's superb.
Yeah, you're right. Do you remember that music shop in Doncaster, Electro Music?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's gone now.
Sad,
Yeah. Where do you think all these?
That shop.
I think every one of these has come from. All these guitars.
Really?
They've all, except
Did you get them cheap?
Resonator. I got that off Bryn, but the bulk of them were from Electro Music.
Did you get a cheap deal?
Yeah, Mike, Johnny, always used to look after me, because if I got a job in Donny, but I had to hang around for an hour or so, I used to go into Electro Music. And
because the Gents worked there.
Yeah, and you guarantee I'd walk out with a guitar, and the wife used to go mad. And it got to the stage where I had to leave it in the car and then sneak it in, put it on the wall. And when she said so, I said, but it ages. That sort of scenario. But every time I went in, I walked out with something. Not nicked it, but it.
What a music shop, though, wasn't it?
Boy, I was... Along with many others.
It was a community. It was a community.
You could go in there and spend half a day, not buy a thing, but have a cuppa and a chat.
Yeah, correct.
I was gutted when it went. Gutted when it shut. It was an institution.
What happened, Allan? Why did it close?
I think it was just
John pass away?
No, John's still going. Yeah, he was gutted. I think what it was, they'd have like, Fender and Gibson. They'd have the franchise, but I think they were wanting too big a cut.
I think
the people at Fender and the people at and whatever, too big a cut, and they just couldn't make a living. And they employed
and to be honest with you, they did. They employed the best, the musicians. That was unbelievable. But the shop got bigger and bigger. The stock they must have had there must have been millions.
I can remember what. In fact, I've not got it anymore. I donated it to a girl that had been, and it was Mike Dinette, the drummer at Gents, that contacted me and asked me, because he's really religious now, Mike. He's into religion and church and this and other. And he said, they've got this young girl. She'd been smuggled out of Africa because she was being forced to marry a man at 14. She was only 12 and this and other. They've got it, and she wants to learn music. And he said, we could get, just an acoustic guitar for her. I says, no problem, mate. And I took one. I got one on the wall and took it through. I says, yes, she can have this. But that one, I was walking around Electro Music, and I'm going in all nooks and crannies and looking. And I seen it in a corner. And I picked it up and took it to John. He says, where have you got that from? And I says, so-and-so. He says, oh, just give me 100 quid for it. He said, I forgot it were even there. And it was like that. There was just stuff all over. Unbelievable.
But they did repairs, they did big gear hire, they did lights, they did keyboards. But I must have spent a fortune in that shop like every other band,
The Tubeless Arts.
And
the Tubeless Arts had all the gear nicked once. And it was Electro Music that rallied round, lent them gear to carry on till they could get some more back in and put a concert on, a benefit concert for them at Asking Miners Welfare, and that were all Electro music and the people there.
I just say at the end of the day, I've spent pounds there, and I'm sure all the bands like Tubeless Arts, Internationals, Marx Brothers, they all use that shop, and it's a very sad loss because we lost the community as well.
It's just another. It's just another step in the direction of losing Clubland altogether.
Yeah, well, I've just done a controversial video. Is Clubland on the brink? You know, and I think sadly it is. I think taking over now is tributes and things like that because people can't afford good bands anymore. There's just not the money around, you know.
Clubland's not on the brink now, mate. It's gone. There just isn't a Clubland scene now. I drive round in my work and venues that we used to play and pack solid, the supermarkets, or they've gone all together and there's houses on them. The talent's still there, but there's just nowhere for that talent to showcase themselves. There isn't a Clubland anymore, mate. It's gone.
It's a sad affair. A lot of pubs, but solos, duos nowadays. That's all there is, you know.
Yeah.
It must be sad for the great bands. Where do they play? You know, that's the problem, isn't
it? There isn't anywhere. There's a good there's a good circuit around this area now. South Emsall, South Kirby, York, that way on where on a Sunday the day starts at like 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So you go out and then by 8 o'clock at night it's over with. So you can go out, see a good band, have a good drink, go home, get up all right next morning for work. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of clubs that moved onto that.
And are they ticketed dues now? Because how do they pay for the bands?
No. 90% of it, it's free. It's free. But obviously, bands nowadays can't command the fees that they used to. But the old mentality of Clubland was, ooh, Christ, look at this. They see 4 guys on stage and they're on £1,000. Yeah, they're getting £250 for tonight each.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah.
No,
they're not. There's the edge.
It's 20% commission. You've got a vehicle out there that's got to be kept on the road, diesel to be paid for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You blow one in them days. It were part lights. You blow one part light in a show. That's 70 quid. You blow a speaker. You're looking at 500 quid. But people didn't see that. They just saw 4,000. You're getting 250 quid.
Correct. Yeah. The sad demise of Clubland, and you know, it makes you wonder what the future is going to be like, especially with music shops, because there's only gear for music that's near you now, isn't there? You know,
there's Rich Tone in Sheffield, and that's about it.
Oh, Rich.
Yeah, that's about it.
Crazy. Well, at least we can buy gear. I mean, I don't like buying gear online because you don't know what you get. I like to touch and feel it and play with it. You know.
Yeah. I'm not
like a guitar. You've got to.
It's all hassle. If it's not what you want, you've got to get it back. And it's just not the same.
No. Good. Well, Allan Guest, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you, and I'm sure the people that are going to watch this are going to. It has, mate, and we'll do an episode 2. You know, the 5 bands that we've done here, you know a lot more, so we'll delve into episode 2 maybe in a couple of months when you've got the time, Allan. And let's hope a few people watch this. I'll send you the video when it's all edited, and you can share it about your friends.
If you like, I'll
memorise the days.
If you like, I'll send you some names of people that I think you would love to come on your show.
That's fantastic.
Mad Jack's Travelling Circus, the guy, Jack Danson. Rod Stewart looked like he ended up earning a fortune, but such a talented, and the band were another. And what it was is that they did clubs, they packed them solid, then they started integrating their own music, which were excellent. Oh, we haven't come for this. But his knowledge is unbelievable. So, in fact,
there was some fantastic talent.
I'm going to a Mad Jack's reunion 1st of August. The surviving members are getting up to play the songs that were their own, and that's all we've got to look forward to now. I mean, like the Tubeless, 2 of them.
Go on.
The Tubeless Arts, Simon the drummer and Midge the bass player, Midge the keyboard player. They formed another band called the Stat Band, and they were a fantastic band. Went for years doing Clubland, and then Miz decided to call it a day through a health. And so Simon and Trev, who used to be the guitarist in Tubeless Arts, and then they left, and then now they're in a band, Born Idle Band. And so, like, one of these clubs I told you about that starts a show at 3 o'clock, if they book the Born Idle Band, which they all do around there, Midge comes to see him, Trev comes to see him, Kev, the bass player singer comes to see him. And what you get is then you get the Bone Idol band, and then all the members that used to be in the Stat Band are there, so they do a set. And then, of course, all the members that used to be in Tubeless Arts are there, so they do a set. So you're getting three excellent bands in an after, and the crowds just love it.
Yeah, I can imagine they do. I can imagine the two. Right, so you've been watching the showcase, ladies and gents, and I hope you continue to watch it. I'd like to thank Allan Guest for being a great guest on the showcase today. He's brought back some fond memories of the 70s, 80s and 90s, and he still has them. He's still keeping in touch with people. So, Allan, thank you very much for coming on the showcase and spending your time talking about your favourite acts.
Been a pleasure, mate. Been a pleasure.
And let's look forward to episode 2. Thank you very much, everybody.